feeling like I'm Akademiks.
Did you see this clip with Aiden Ross?
Couple nights I've been going out. You guys know that. I've been going out a lot. And I bumped into somebody who's very close on this Kendrick-Drake situation. And there's a bird on the street that Kendrick already has a full-on diss track ready to drop for Drake. Kendrick, I'm a fan of hip hop, and if you're gonna diss Drake, drop that shit. Is all I'm gonna say, bro. And yeah, man, I mean, let it fly. If you wanna diss Drake, let it.
Okay, so there are rumors going around that there is definitely a diss track that Kendrick has, which I automatically thought when I seen this diss. I said this is a very clear fuck you, let's get it in. But I do know Kendrick got to be shrewd enough that he knows Drake is a shooter. Drake has responded to even lesser people than Kendrick, and he's also been publicly saying if Kendrick wants smoke, that nigga need to just say it. Kendrick pretty much said, I wanted smoke. Now, here's the problem with that. I think Kendrick's sitting back saying, Drake, you go first. And I think Drake has reverse engineered and psychoanalyzed and said, no, pussy, you go first. So they're both playing this weird ass game right now. Yo, you go first. Now you go first. Now, I know some of y'all gonna be like, no, Kendrick went first. Stop it. Kendrick did not go first. Drake has been dissing Kendrick for years. Kendrick's been dissing Drake for years. We could continue this trend of I'll diss you on a verse, or I'll diss you that's kind of like not like a standalone diss song. Trust me, they both could do that. I'm pretty sure Drake on his next song or his next album will do the same of what Kendrick did to him, he'll do back. What we want is a confrontation, a duel, a battle. We want them to have a square off. We want to see them go toe-to-toe where we could judge it, and it's going to be an official thing, just like how we judged Meek and Drake, just like how we judged the whole thing with Pusha T and Drake. And I think they're both, like, I wish this was like a league where it'd be like, yo, we're going to flip a coin. Because I think Drake is being shrewd. And this is my stern message to Drake. Drake, Kendrick is not Meek Mill. Okay? He's not an idiot. You can't reverse engineer him to make him drop. So, for example, you posting these captions that are taking little pot shots that is making it seem like, oh, I'm not really bothered, but I'm kind of like joking when putting. No, he's not going to drop his diss song because of that. It's clear. Kendrick has a song ready for you, but he wants you to go first. So if you're not going to go first, just diss him like how he dissed you on your next song. There's no time limit on that. You get what I mean? But I think Drake wants this beef. I actually think Drake wants, and if you ask me, by the way, none of this is inside knowledge. This is all me thinking. I think Drake is probably brainstormed, what does Kendrick got? Because this motherfucker is acting like he got the shit on me. But what could the shit be? I think that Drake is also possibly preparing, already probably listened to 300 beats, probably got like a short list at this point if he needs to respond, if Kendrick will drop. Again, I think Kendrick had a plan. I think that plan was a little bit thwarted because, you know, it got all the attention that's like, hey, Aubrey, you got to respond. But Drake ain't responding because Drake is finally being smart. So none of them are going to, I don't think none of them is going to kick it off. I think Drake wants to kick it off. But if Drake kicks it off, he's going to be at a handicap. He don't know what the fuck, like Kendrick probably been planning for this for months, already got this song cooked up. You're walking in blindsided. And I think that Kendrick, based on how he's treating this situation, he's treating this like, hey, I've always been popping my shit. Oh, and now Drake wants to challenge me. Watch what I do to him, right? I don't think Kendrick, no matter, and all of this is bait if you ask me, right? So, for example, you know,
Past couple nights.
So Aiden Ross says this, but look, Ben the Don, who hangs with Drake all the time, said he ain't gonna drop it, cuz. Like, you could tell when somebody's like, yo, no, we want him to drop it. Like, all Drake's actions is like, no, we want him to drop it, but we want him to drop it first. You know, Drake is like, you know, he's saying things like, they rather, and this is him, I believe he's playing the angle of, oh, I'm a little shook, hoping that Kendrick says, all right, pussy, you not gonna respond? Hold this diss track. So he's like, they rather go to war with me than admit that they're their own enemy, right? Drake is trying his best to get Kendrick to drop this diss. And y'all gonna have to tell me what do y'all think about this, because I know in y'all mind y'all think Drake should drop a standalone diss. He's not going to do it, okay? Well, he might do it. I don't think he's gonna do it, or he shouldn't do it. He should wait till Kendrick go first. So, again, just like how Kendrick had this moment, Drake is gonna have a moment on another hot song too, dissing Kendrick. So they're gonna go tit for tat on features or whatever. But I know y'all are fiending for the battle. The only way I believe this battle happens, Kendrick has to shoot first. And again, that song was not shooting first. It's standalone diss tracks. I keep trying to tell y'all. I think Drake is trying to bait him. Look, like he says, he puts this caption up. And by the way, I don't think Drake is scared for a minute. Like, not for a minute. I don't think he's scared at all. I think he wants to have the advantage. You know what I mean? Again, if we could have a flip of a coin, this would all work. But they're both kind of like trying to play like, well, Drake is playing social media chess, right? Just look at all of Drake's posts. Look,
Nights I'm going.
even Chubbs come out and be like, tell that little boy drop, but he won't. He know better. You know when somebody be like, I bet you won't tell me that secret. Nigga, I bet you won't. You know they want you to do it. So, like, we're seeing the reverse psychology trying to be used. I don't think Drake want to duck this beef. Drake wants to engage. Drake wants to engage with Kendrick, but, and I don't even know if he knows this as a fact, but I personally think that Kendrick does have a song tucked in a cut. He wants Drake wants him to go first. He wants Drake to go first. Because put it like this, if Drake drops this song right now to Kendrick, what is he gonna say? Okay, I'm the best. Yo, I'm the best. I sold the most. You niggas need me. I put you on. I put you on my album. Like, take care. Like, okay, he can say those things, but I think Kendrick got a Hiroshima. I think he has a Hiroshima. You get what I mean? I think he's going to come with either new allegations of ghostwriting, either some personal stuff, which I would think that Kendrick wouldn't do that because, I think he wants to rap battle, not like get it to that level, but I do think he's going to come with some revelations. And that's why I think Drake wants him to go first. Now, I see some people really think that I'm just like, oh no, you're just kind of no. And the only thing I was gonna say to Drake, and I guess this is my stern warning. I don't think your reverse psychology is working on Kendrick. I don't think he's gonna drop first. You should stop doing reverse psychology because now the fans are thinking that you're actually scared. The fans are believing it. Kendrick doesn't believe it. Kendrick is ready to take your head off. Kendrick he got something for you. But the fans are starting to think that you're scared, which I know you ain't scared because I know you're trying to bait him. He baited you. You're trying to bait him. Y'all kind of both want to get into it, but y'all do know, think about it. A Drake and Kendrick beef going back and forth, that first round is pivotal. That first round is pivotal. And if Kendrick got a slapper, Kendrick got like a classic diss, it's going to be crazy. So I think both of them are baiting. Like if you go to Drake's Instagram, Champagne Poppy, here we go. You go to his Instagram, everything is like, look, I could never sell y'all out to sell my latest work. He's almost alluding to, oh, these guys, they diss me. Like, it's making him seem like he's in his feelings. Never do you bat out the blue, but I'm down to make it worse. Right? And I'm telling you, Drake is shrewd. He's smart. So he's just doing reverse psychology. But I think he's hoping that Kendrick's going to be like, all right, nigga, You already scared. Let me just drop the hammer on you, right? Look, they'd rather go to war with me than admit they're their worst enemy. Fine line between iconic and demonic. Shorty, okay, that's what I said. Your girl president. See, he's kind of sending shots at other people, like, Ross or whatever. If I think Cole could respond, and I'm not saying Cole should respond, but I think Cole could respond because I don't think Kendrick. The best scenario here, if Kendrick ain't gonna drop first, you let Cole go out first, right? I'm gonna tell you why. Because knowing how or thinking how I think Kendrick views this, I agree. I don't think he respects the big three. Number one, I don't think he thinks Drake's in his caliber neither. And I don't think he think that Cole could rap with him no matter what he's ever said. So I don't think he's like, oh yeah, me and Cole are going to go back and forth. No. I think for the longest, he's always wanted to expose Drake as a lyrically inferior rapper, a fraud, and a nigga who cannot go toe-to-toe with a guy of his ilk. And the only reason why people would even perceive Drake to be bigger than him or whatever is only because Drake is a pop star. I think that's his demeanor. So I don't think he really has something in the tuck for Cole, because I think he has something that is, I'm calling Hiroshima. He has the nuclear bomb, and he has the nuclear bomb for Drake. Now, I see some people also saying that too. Yes, people are now starting to think, oh, yo, Drake is doing the Twitter finger thing, which I think he's intentionally doing it because he wants Kendrick to say something, which Kendrick won't say something because he's not on social media. So he wants Kendrick to drop again. Also, I think he's kind of doing all that, hoping that when this part 2 of this album called We Don't Trust You Part 2, hoping that maybe Kendrick has another song on there that at least he could get all the shots by Future, Rick Ross, Kendrick, and whoever else, and Metro Clearly. So I think he's just trying to wait. But in reality, I think he's trying to bait that nigga, man. I just don't think it will work. If you ask me, Kendrick already planned out the beef in his mind. Oh, I'm going to get Drake in his feelings. I'm going to say certain shit to piss him off. He's going to respond. My silence plus the noise of the fans literally telling him, or telling Drake, yo, you not going to respond? Yo, that nigga talking about you. That nigga talking about you. He's hoping that's enough to get a response out of Drake. Somebody said, you copping right now. I'm not copping no plea or nothing, bro. You don't get what I'm saying. I'm not telling you what I want. Me as a fan, number one, I do want Drake to win. But me as a fan, I want Drake to drop 5 diss songs on Kendrick right now. Let's go. Let's do it. But I'm telling you how two cerebral artists are moving and how they're trying to plan their approach to dissing each other. Somebody says, Kendrick says, yo, it's time to prove he's a problem. And Ak is saying Kendrick needs K-Dot to go first. Bro, this isn't about proving anything. This is about trying to win. You got to realize this is a career milestone. If Drake bodies Kendrick, this conversation is done. This is Pacquiao Mayweather. This is Nas Jay-Z. This could either put a severe blemish on either one's career. If Kendrick gets bodied by Drake, the conversation of who's the best, Kendrick or Drake, that's going to sound very silly later on because Kendrick is not in the realm of success-wise as Drake. But if he gets bodied in a battle by Drake, so trust me, Drake is taking this, I would imagine, very seriously. But also, this would be the thing to, define the era for Kendrick if he fucked over Drake on a diss song or caused an enormous moment that people would have to stop to think and even like score this battle if it ever happens as, yo, this nigga Drake really lost, and kind of prove what a lot of people were saying, that he lost to a real MC. Because of course Drake's a real MC too, but there's certain people like, oh, Kendrick's like a real MC. So if I'm Drake, and this is my advice. I'll give advice to both. If I'm Drake, I'll go radio silent. Quiet. Don't say nothing more. It's all good. Don't say nothing more. Don't say nothing more. And if anything, don't even give the response in this moment that they're trying to have. Respond 6 months later. Don't do it right now. Your captions is making the moment look bigger than it is because people are like, damn, yo, he sneaked this to them on Twitter, but he not saying, or he sneaked this to them on Instagram, but he not saying nothing. No. Ignore it completely. If I'm Kendrick, I need Drake to respond. If I'm him, I do this again on part 2. I do this again on part 2, but make it current where you're almost saying, yo, niggas is scared to engage with me. They're always active until I start talking to them. Some of the sort that Drake is almost damn near forced to respond. Because I don't think he's forced to respond yet. So I said Nas responded 6 months later and y'all was cool with that. I keep telling y'all, man, yo, Ether, I know it's a response to Takeover, but that was the first round and the first shot fired. It was just an effective shot. And that shot was countered with, you have Ether right here, and then you have Super Ugly. The radio stations that were trying to judge it incorrectly always said it was Ether versus Takeover. Takeover was a great song. It was a dope-ass song. As a diss, Ether was the epitome of a diss song. Now, keep in mind, Takeover, the third verse was about, actually, what verse was about Nas? Remember, he was also dissing Prodigy and Havoc from Mobb Deep. So he was dissing multiple people on the song. It wasn't like, yo, I'm only dissing you. He was dissing a few people. It's like saying Kendrick Control was a diss song to one rapper. No, he mentioned mad niggas on that shit. Anyway, let me see. Skinny says, I know you don't like him, but Rory made a good point. Kendrick could just sit on like that, and it could be song of the summer. Drake can't wait too long if he's waiting for K-Dot to drop again. What y'all are all like not realizing, Drake is so much the A side, and Drake, unless he's so battle tested, you do know it's big in this moment, but Drake could just not respond. Drake is diss Kendrick subliminally more times than Kendrick is diss Drake. You know that, right? Like, he doesn't have to respond. I know right now you're like, oh, he's done if he doesn't respond. You do know we could just ignore him and drop 2 more hit songs and we'll stop talking about this eventually, right? So when y'all keep saying Drake has to respond, I think Drake is looking at it like, I got the cards in my pockets. I want him to drop his song. So Only thing will force me to, and I think the culture will definitely force Drake to respond, is if Kendrick drops the actual diss song. Drake could not respond to this, or it could take a year, 2 years. I don't know why I think that, like, bro, you know it hurts Drake's legacy not at all if Drake doesn't respond, waits 4 months, drops a feature, that's hot, still no response, drops 2 hit songs 3 months later, and then announces that he's going to do an album and still never, we're going to forget. Like, we're in a very microwavable, like, we want it now type of society. But if we wait 6 months, it'll be a thing like, oh yeah, Kendrick did go crazy, but we're not going to be like, Drake is done. We're going to be like, oh yeah, Drake didn't respond, or he responded his own time. H-Town Chop True, thank you. Said Dreamville Fest is on the 6th and the 7th. You think Cole will do a Summer Jam style diss to Kendrick like Jay-Z did to Nas and Mobb Deep? I think it's a date to keep an eye on. Nah, I don't think Kendrick's built like that at all, man. No, not Kendrick. I mean, I don't think J. Cole built like that at all. Period. So, somebody said we will remember him for ducking. No, we won't. Why do y'all keep acting like Drake don't diss the most amount of people in hip hop? You do know Drake Kendrick don't diss people, right? You know Drake disses people all the time, subliminally, every record, every album. Y'all are just acting because once out of the blue moon, Kendrick dissed someone, you're like, oh my God, Drake is gonna diss other people. He gonna diss Kendrick whenever he wants to. Why y'all are acting like, oh no, this just erases the fact that what Kendrick literally did, Drake has been doing 55 times more than him. He did it to Kid Cudi. He did it to Pusha T 10 times. He did it to he did it to Common. He did it to mad people, bro. Somebody says Drake punches down. Well, he's at the top of the food chain. Of course, everything is going to be a punch down. Here's the thing. Fuck all that, though. Because you're right. Drake does punch down. Well, here's how you solve that problem. Kendrick is of, like, okay, around the same caliber. Force him to respond. You got to force a nigga to respond because, again, Drake is battle tested. Drake has done all these things. He could literally say on a record, yo, if they don't mention my name, I don't respect it, or some shit like that. And it's gonna force Kendrick has to really initiate this battle, man. And yeah, I won't say I'm biased, but I don't think nothing changes if Drake ignores this shit. I just think he should stop the Instagram and shit. Like you can't reverse psychology like a smart nigga. It's not gonna work. Someone said Kendrick diss Drake on You Don't Have to Lie to Kick It, King Kunta, BT, Cyber, Hood Politics. I got more proof. Yeah, Kendrick is diss Drake mad times, you know? Of course, Drake is dissed him when he was like, yo, I would probably have more respect if I didn't do this. And that's like they've dissed each other, bro. They've both dissed each other. All these disses are very, you know, it's what? Yeah, all these disses are subliminal. So I said Drake is smart to know if he goes last, the popularity will carry him to a win, even if it isn't deserved. Let me tell you why Drake should want to go second, right? And this is why I believe Kendrick doesn't want to go first. Because you help Drake make a narrative that you niggas just dissed him for no reason. That's exact. If Kendrick has 3 songs cooked up, you could help Drake on a reverse, or a response thing to say, yo, all I've done for you is help you. Kendrick, I put you on my first album. I brought you on tour. I did this for you. you are jealous about my success. You've dropped just random diss songs directly at me. That's a narrative that could play out lyrically. You get what I mean? I think Drake's leverage is if he's not seen as the aggressor. And that's why you see some of these little captions sound like that. It's like, he's like, I don't know why they're mad at me. They should be mad at themselves. I didn't do nothing to no one. They're dissing me out of the blue. I think that's a narrative he would want to have. Like, hey, I didn't do nothing to nobody. Look, never do you bad out the blue. I think that's a narrative he wants to have. Okay. Somebody said that's a pussy narrative. Okay. You don't, bruh, these narratives are going to count when you're rapping back, because you could just be like, hey, listen, I feel like I'm explaining something that y'all get. Somebody said accurate biased. How am I? I'm not biased when I'm trying to play this out what I think both men are thinking. I think Kendrick and Drake has never really got along. I think Kendrick always felt that in a lyrical competition he would wash Drake. I feel like Drake thinks that he would hold his own or wash Kendrick. These are two opposite sides of what two people are thinking, but they're both thinkers. They're trying to figure out how to play this. Why do you think Drake hasn't dropped a diss song? Do you want me to tell you that, oh, I think Drake is scared? Because that's not what it is. Like, the guy who's scared wouldn't even be making... he's trying to reverse psychology Kendrick. Maybe somebody fed him some information. Yo, Kendrick got to hold this song ready for you, bro. Okay, but he's waiting. He's waiting for you to drop. All right, fuck it. I'm just gonna act like I'm pussy. I'm not doing nothing. Hopefully, I can get him to drop, because it's going days and now weeks with my silence. And then when he drops, I get to handle it accordingly, because now I get to see what he said. That makes sense from Drake's perspective. Kendrick, yo, I randomly shaking up the culture by dissing Drake and J. Cole. Right? Cool. I have a follow-up diss song. I don't want to make it seem so calculated by dropping two songs right back to back, because it feels like this is a planned attack that if it doesn't work, I wasn't keeping it hip-hop. Maybe I was just hating. Okay, how do I make it seem like it's not some careful, calculated attack, which it probably is some carefully calculated attack? Let me warm it up by dissing him like this, and then let the culture or whoever else almost pressure him to respond. Then I hit him with the dagger. Somebody say if he wasn't scared, he was just dropped the diss reverse psychology. No, I disagree. I think Drake learned his lesson from Pusha T. I think he learned his lesson from the Pusha T situation. I think he learned his lesson from the Pusha T situation. The element of surprise is very essential in this battle. The element of surprise. The element of, okay, you think I'm going to talk about A, B, and C, and now, we live in this T generation. If one of these guys could tell us, and I could guarantee Drake's approach is probably going to be different with Kendrick. I guarantee now Drake is probably digging up dirt on Kendrick in case he has to use it. Of course, bro. He saw how, bro. Personally, again, y'all gonna call me biased. He out-rapped Pusha T, but he got out-T'd. Panella says, yo, we're talking about the same guy who said, I waited 4 days, nigga, where y'all at? I told you about that beef as well. When Drake said, I waited 4 days, where y'all at? It was actually in response to people saying that Drake's first song, that was more for Drake than Meek. People said the first song wasn't strong. So he came with a better song and acted like, oh no, I was just waiting for you. Kendrick could do that. If y'all are praising Drake for doing that shit, Kendrick could do that, but Kendrick don't need to do that. You know why? That bait song is strong enough. It's strong enough. People are still talking about it. I just still think nothing will happen. Anyway. Somebody said there's no T on Kendrick. There's T on everybody, man. Trust me. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Yo, King Dragon. Oh my God, what's up with y'all? So we can't talk about. You said we can't talk about Drake like that, or we're talking about Drake here who did back to back. You do realize that back to back. Here's the thing: the same thing you're giving Drake the credit for, he did back to back. He dropped 2 songs unprovoked. He did that. If you love that move so much, let Kendrick drop 2 songs back to back. Let Kendrick back to back Drake. And then let's see how Drake would respond. Because that would be also interesting. Let's say Kendrick drops a song like back to back that is a bona fide hit and is violating Drake to the utmost extent, and everybody in the culture is liking it. We might reflect back on this and say Drake should have responded. But I think he's looking at it like that motherfucker, he's not coming with no hit song. That nigga's gonna come with some bullshit and some tea or some whatever, like, who knows? Like, oh yeah, we caught you not writing again. This is, all right, whatever. Before you could even, I'm gonna let you say that before I even do anything of the sort. Latrice the God, thank you for the gifted sub. And King Dragon, you were saying, all right. You said I'm giving him an excuse? You said we can't put him in a battle category if you only shoot subs and don't shoot. This is what I hate about all of y'all doing this bullshit. This is like so unfair, right? So when Kendrick dropped Control and niggas made dedicated diss songs to him, I believe a few rappers that he mentioned actually responded with whole disses, and Kendrick never responded to them rappers. What did y'all think then? Because most of y'all are starting to come across as y'all just want to see Drake catch an L. I get it. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody wants to see the king's head on a stake at some point. And we've been waiting for this matchup. But what I'm trying to say is that, didn't Kendrick do the same? I'm asking y'all a question. Didn't Kendrick do the same? Somebody said Control was a diss. Okay, well, niggas responded to Control and he never responded back. Is that true or false? So he dissed people on Control. Meek dropped the whole song. A few people dropped the whole song on him. He never responded. What do you say about that? Because y'all are now changing the rules to be like, oh, Drake is just pussy. He's scared, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, give me 1 second. By the way, real quick, I do want to do Fat Joe, bro. Yo, Fat Joe was speaking on Diddy today, and I wanted to play that. I gotta pick something up in my door real quick. Actually, Okay. Give me 1 second. I just got to grab some. Now, there was a time I would just... Okay. Did I play this already? Yeah, just give me 1 second.
Such a pedestal that he found himself performing at the FIFA World Cup, something usually only reserved for megastars, putting Baby in front of the eyes of 2 billion televisions globally. But while Big Loon spoke of his current prominence and the position that it granted him, there are now concerns over Lil Baby's staying power, as due to the combination of persistent factors, the public that elevated him are now begging him to stop rapping. Once seen as a reliable source for undeniable club bangers, Lil Baby now stands accused of falling into the familiar trap of getting comfortable and milking his sound, all the while refusing to alter his sound or respond to the criticisms that he's receiving. Back at the outset of his career, Lil Baby, who never envisioned himself as a rapper until he was coerced into it by Young Thug, was as focused as they come. Releasing 7 projects in the space of just 2 years, Lil Baby evaded distractions and kept working. Along the way, he refused to be lured into petty beefs, even when everyone tried to pit him against the Baby over similarities in their names.
So many tried to like go that way with me, but I always heard it from day one. When it came out, he blowed up, and then it was like, he the Baby, and I'm Lil Baby. He don't sound like me. He ain't trying to like kick my swag. His name just the Baby. It's enough money for both of us, as you see.
Possessing the kind of shrewd mindset that most rappers would benefit from, Lil Baby stayed locked in with his craft, flooding the market with new music and becoming such a safe bet that even the biggest stars such as Nicki Minaj and Drizzy solely relied on his sound to boost their EPs and singles. At the time of his peak, Lil Baby's sound was so undeniable that many respected critics expected him to be the next Drake and eclipse the man that put him on with Yes Indeed.
There was a time when the Drake feature helped Lil Baby. I think right now Drake might need that Lil Baby feature. Let's be clear, a lot of the Drake records, at least of late, haven't really taken off.
Fast forward to 2023, and not only does it not seem like Lil Baby has any chance of overtaking Drizzy, but there's a concern about him maintaining the success that he's currently riding on. Fresh from dropping a snippet like 350, which is essentially just a rehash of everything he's done for the past 4 years, Lil Baby is facing heat from his own fanbase. Notably, Kai Cenat, while not directly calling out Lil Baby, skillfully sidesteps commenting on the song itself, and instead focused all criticism on the production.
I'm not even joking, the beat's louder than him. No, fire the producer. Bro, why is the beat louder?
With some fans admitting that I think it's time we start having that conversation in regards to Baby's falloff. Combined with canceled tour dates across the nation, it's not a great time to be in the 4PF camp right now. So how do we get to the point where Baby's magic is wearing off? And what can be done, if anything? Well, for starters, let's broach the issue that he had in terms of selling tickets. In July, it was revealed that Lil Baby had canceled a series of shows on his It's Only Us tour, which saw Baby head venues that tend to have capacities of around 15,000 to 20,000 people. In essence, it's the kind of venues that someone like Drake, Cole, or Kendrick, the big threes, routinely sell out. Left with no explanation in terms of why the shows were pulled, fans immediately assumed that it was low sales that led them to be unceremoniously canceled. But while this was the most overt example of Lil Baby not being a draw, the warning signs were there even during his peak. Hot on the heels of their collab project, The Voice of the Heroes, Baby and Lil Durk launched their Back Outside tour. Staged at a time when fans were ravenous for shows after lockdown, it was immediately assumed that by way of their combined hype, these shows would easily sell out. But, as Akademiks would reveal on the Flagrant 2 podcast, Baby might have overestimated his own hype.
He's trying to do arenas about 10,000, 15,000. You imagine it's Baby. Yeah. They say his tour is doing bad. You'll never see him post that his tour is sold out. It's not selling that much.
Alongside acknowledging that Jack Harlow opted for smaller rooms and was consistently selling out, Baby may have later posted that the tour actually grossed $15 million, but not selling out ultimately hurt his brand, because unfortunately for artists in hip-hop, optics are often all that matters. So once fans unanimously think you've fallen off, it's almost impossible to regain momentum, regardless of the music. Take a look at someone like The Baby, for example. He's arguably dropping the best music of his career right now, but now that the public view of him has turned, it'll always be reaching a diminished audience. In terms of how this factors into Lil Baby, this can be...
All right, we've talked about Baby already. Lakers says 8 a.m. in Charlotte was Drake starting beef in the last verse. Well, Drake always disses people. Y'all don't get on those people. Oh, Kendrick better respond. I don't think I'm just like really copping pleas for Drake all the time. But this is one of the... because Drake is so active is the reason why y'all want him to respond this quickly. Because I'm telling you, Drake has dissed Kendrick a dumb amount of times. Now, of course, I do think he should respond. But y'all wanted to, y'all think that this is just started official beef. No. I'm definitely not a munch. Thank you for the 2. He says, you got to understand most people are not calculated. They just don't get it. I think you're right. Drake needs to bait Kendrick to see what he has in store. Yes. I'm telling you. I think Drake think he could rap ball for ball with Kendrick, but I think Kendrick got some shit on that nigga, man. And it might not be like some crazy, like hiding a child. But I think it's something where once he puts it out there, the hip-hop audience that would care about a battle are going to be heavily swayed in Kendrick's opinion. or Kendrick's side. Okay. All good. I think we've kind of like, we've kind of talked about this a decent amount. Give me 1 second. Okay. Poor Big Sean. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think Big Sean admitted why he won't be in that caliber. Like, I've always thought Big Sean was lyrically really one of the best, but Big Sean, I think he always lacked the passion. He always lacked that tenacity. He always lacked that consistency. And, he went ghost for a while. There was a time that he went ghost, and maybe he was like, discouraged by maybe like his music not selling like how he expected it to sell, but he took his foot off the gas. There was a time that I'm telling you, I think Big Sean and Kendrick are 1-on-1. And like verse to verse. Kendrick washed him on Control, but I think he beat or he out-rapped Kendrick on Holy Key, if you ask me. Somebody said Drake is asking his fans for motivation. Bro, when y'all see how this beef plays out, y'all are going to come back and y'all are going to say, yo, Ak, you're a genius. You're right. They were both playing chess with each other. They're trying to figure it out and they're trying to move accordingly. Y'all will tell me like how y'all tell me on most things. Ak, you're right. I'm telling you how if I was playing, I am a cerebral thinker. I like to think, and I would play it like how both of these guys are playing it. And right now, I think Kendrick has the edge in how he's playing it because he doesn't have to say anything. I think Drake has to, like, he's trying to bait, but how do you bait if you're not going to drop music? Oh, well, you kind of act unbothered, but you also, yeah, whatever. Somebody say he ignored everyone and went at Nav first. Those ain't going at people. Those little captions where he's quoting people's lines, he's not going at them. Bro, y'all know that Drake literally dropped, when he was going at somebody like you in a Tiger. Bro, he literally dropped 6 p.m. in New York, and he went at Tiger. Yo, you need to act your age, not your girl's age. That's him directly, like, directly, indirectly, because, none of these guys really call names. Jay Dash says, yo, going back and listening to that Control verse, you think Kendrick washed Big Sean? I shouldn't say washed, because Big Sean had a good verse on that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think Big Sean was always hurt by the fact that people never gave, they always like acted like Kendrick just violated him. I really thought that both of those were close, and I think he got, of course, Kendrick edged him out on Control, and then he edged him out on Holy Key. 2005 Kendrick Lamar street rap battle. Go look it up. Battle in the project since 16. Stop acting like you won't make a hit. This song violates both aspects. Nah, I'm not buying it because the type of rap where both of these guys are at on the caliber of rap that they're doing, it's more than just rap battle. It's also information. It's also it's high stakes. It's not just who raps better. Like, it's gonna be like who makes the better song, who gave up more information, who told us something we didn't know, who blah blah blah. Like, it's a lot of aspects to this. Y'all just keep thinking who rap better. Also, I do think this is a little bit difficult. It's more difficult for Drake than it is for Kendrick because Drake actually, it's harder to have subject matter to diss Kendrick on. What are you going to diss Kendrick on? Hey, you're not as successful as me. Hey, you don't make enough hits as me. Like, Kendrick, personal life is quite private. He stays out of the mix, doesn't really say something. He only pops up when, like, he's doing good deeds. Like, it's hard to diss a Kendrick with anything that's, like, substantial or that's gonna stand maybe the test of time. Y'all will never let me live this up. I really think I'm just like biased as shit. Drake can't run with Kendrick. Patrice, what are you talking about, girl?